Hello everyone, and welcome back to Todos Santos. This is episode number 19, and today we're sticking with the downtown. We're going to be filling in some areas, doing a couple projects just to kind of tie together all the infrastructure, and of course we're going to be doing a bit of detailing. So we're starting off by filling in this block, and on this corner we have this statue asset, which I'm using again. I just used that a couple episodes ago, but it's really nice. It has quite a high try count, so it's probably hurting my performance a little bit to use it, but and I think it just looks like something you'd find in like these sort of small urban park areas. And again, we're just using these a variety of ploppable surfaces to break up the pavement a little bit for that sort of focus area. And now we're clipping these commercial buildings into the bottom of this, I believe it's a residential building. And I think like those two 1x1 buildings there on the left, I believe those are actually intended to be clipped into the bottom of buildings. So that's kind of nice to have assets like that. And that just brings a little bit of mixed use zoning to our city, which is really nice because that's something that the base game doesn't do. Just a really simple build, not super high detailed, and that's sort of what we're going for this episode is getting some areas kind of in the mid-range of detail just to start fleshing out this downtown a little bit. We're not going to finish the downtown area this episode. We're going to take a little bit of a break and move on to a different area for a few episodes, but it's still going to be really fun, and we will come back and complete the downtown a few episodes after that. But now we're moving on to work on this mall. We had this triangle here, which I mentioned when I was actually building the road system back in episode 13, I believe. And that triangular mall building just almost fit in perfectly, so I just had to adjust the roads a little bit. And here you'll see me kind of struggling a bit with just the shape of those roads, and that's something that I come back off camera and fix with the node controller mod, which allows you to get really smooth transitions between different styles of roads. So that's a mod that we'll get to use a lot of in later episodes, but I do have a lot of footage recorded before I started using that. So we'll be going through a few different episodes before we get to all these nice new mods that I've been mentioning over the last couple of commentaries. But I'm just super excited about all these cool mods that have been released, so I keep bringing them up when I see, all these problems that arose that now have just been fixed by these new mods. So while I detail this mall, I thought I'd go over a couple of technical things with this episode. I had some problems. Apparently I recorded it in like too small of a frame rate, so the time lapse is a little faster than usual. I'm sorry about that. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can really do to slow it down without actually affecting the final frame rate of like the rendered video, but we will be making a couple technical changes starting next episode. First, I'm recording it in a much higher frame rate than usual, which means that the time lapse will play a little bit more smoothly and slowly, so you can kind of tell what's going on better, and it'll be a little easier on the eyes, I hope at least. Additionally, I have changed the map theme. That's something we'll see next episode. The one I have right now is nice. It's not quite as detailed as I'd like, and it's also a little cool, as in like a little too blue tinged. And so I tried a few more themes, and I found one that looks nice. It's a little warmer, a little drier looking, but not, like arid or anything. It's just a little less lush feeling, and it's a little more detailed, so I'm pretty happy with that, and I'll bring that up again next episode and actually kind of describe what I was going with that. So now to manage the traffic a little better that is running into downtown from the freeway across that flyover ramp that we made in episode 13. We have the one-way frontage road you can see there, the two-lane one-way road. That runs basically straight from that flyover ramp, and it's kind of a pain to get these cars to get onto the main downtown road without clogging up the crossroads. So I just wanted to add in this merging lane so people could go over from that frontage road onto the main road without having to stop or turn or anything like that. And so they get their own lane there on the right, and the lane pretty quickly just ends up ending right there so that they can merge into there. And that ends up not working at all because people, there's just too much traffic for that setup to handle. As you can see here, all these people moving into the downtown area. Once they start updating their path, start going down there, and it's just really terrible. It gets all clogged up, so I just end up here deleting the curb there on the side that covers up the right lane. And this, it still has a similar problem that they all try to turn in there, but it, all the people who want to go straight can just go straight, which is fine. So we don't get quite as much weaving in and out of the lanes there. And that just gives them more real estate for them to be able to wait to turn into the next lane if they do need to turn. And it ends up working fine overall. It handles the traffic pretty well. Okay, so now I figured that the main road would need a gas station. So I'm going to put down what ends up being a fairly nice looking gas station as far as gas stations go, and fill in a few more areas. I'm going to let you watch that, and I will be back in just a minute. I hope you enjoy the segment. Welcome back. So now we're quickly building a little bit of a mixture of commercial and light industry. And when I was filling in these blocks, everything ended up being a little kind of haphazard and just thrown together. I didn't really think out, the different zoning, like where would be commercial, where would be industrial, where would be residential. It's kind of all mixed together in this area. That's just a little bit of an oversight from when I was building this. I think as we move forward, we get a little better at organizing the city and having things to be a little bit more realistic of a layout. But there's just so much real estate in this downtown area that I needed to fill, and I was just kind of anxious to get some filler in there. So this isn't, intended to be the most realistic area, but I think it works just to flesh out the downtown area and give it a little bit more of a, paved over urban feel, which is sort of what we're going for. And then I kind of like that little slope over on the right that's damaged and degrading. And then just to fill out the theme that's like a light industry and commercial, we have some junk out back from their operations in the buildings. And then there's this really cool, I think it's like a clinic building. It just has a really nice silhouette from above, so that's why I wanted to have it there. I don't know if the style of the building really fits in with the style of architecture that we're going for, but it's just such a cool building that I had to include it. And we're going with a little bit more of a nicer landscaped parking area and just surroundings for the whole building. I imagine it's like some sort of like specialty clinic or some sort of medical office. I mean, it works as a clinic in the city, so that's where I got that from. And before, when I was talking about technical issues, I left out a couple of things. I forgot to mention them. First is that the cinematic camera mod, you can use it to set paths that the camera follows, and you can then record it. And that's how I usually get my cinematics. And that is, in this save, in this city, is basically when I set a path and run it, it just freezes the game and I can't use it anymore, which is kind of too bad. So I've been switching to more static shots in the cinematics, which I am actually enjoying. I think it allows you to kind of get a little bit more immersed into the city and kind of get to ground level and see it like a sim would see it. So it's sort of a trade-off because we don't get as many of these overview sweeping shots, but we do get a lot more, I think, life in the cinematics with that style. So if you notice that, that's why that's happening. But I think I'm going to stick with it. Stick with that style. I mean, it's just a little different than what I usually do. In addition to that, it makes the before and after shots more challenging because they seem to, when you can save camera positions, but it doesn't seem to always line up perfectly. So sometimes the before and after shots are not perfectly lined up with one another. I'm not really sure how to fix that because I obviously can't just like manually go in and make sure the camera's in the exact same spot. That just wouldn't work. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I can figure that out. But I just thought I'd let you know that. Okay, so I'm building some underground parking here. I don't really know why I chose this spot. I just was kind of running out of things to do to fill in this little gap here in between the main road and the rest of the downtown. And I thought that underground parking might be cool. And I imagine that would be like serving that apartment building, the gray and white one there. So I'm going to let you watch me add some details onto that, and I will be back in just a minute. Okay, welcome back. Now we're just filling in this last little rectangle here of space, and really the goal of this episode was to get this little strip of green in between the main road and the rest of the downtown all filled in, which we do accomplish, so I'm pretty happy with that. We do wander a little bit from our overall style of the city, but really at this point, I'm just going to move on, forge ahead, and we're going to go on to bigger and better things in future episodes. For example, next episode, we're going to start a little bit of a low density area. We're going to do some road building, some highway building. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to be taking a lot more inspiration than we have been the last couple episodes from specific areas around San Juan. Okay, now back to what we're actually doing this episode. I wanted this area to feel, if not like a bit more cosmopolitan, just kind of more of an international generic style. And again, we're going with a mixture of residential and commercial. So we have this apartment building here, then those little strip mall buildings on the left. And then I finally get to use this mowed grass decal, which I really like. I think it's a great decal. It adds a lot of detail. And that's not something I get to use too much in the city because we're not really doing any square plots of land, or at least not many. And because the decal is pretty big and it's a square, you really need square plots of land to do that, or just using it kind of in little small areas like I did just there. But that's a really nice decal, so hopefully we'll be able to find some more spots to fit that in. And now this very last strip across from the metro station there, I decided to just extend out this theme of hedges and palms from the rest of the this main portion of the road that comes in from the freeway. And then there's a nice little bus stop there which would hook up with the metro station via that crosswalk there. Okay, so now we're moving out of the downtown, or at least a little bit out of the downtown. And I just wanted to show really quickly that I did replace that frontage road there with a one-way road because it really wasn't working as a two-way road. I tried that experiment, didn't work. And so kind of at the edges of the frontage road, it does turn into a two-way road, as you can see there. We're going to extend that into a big avenue in a later episode, which is really fun. And in that episode, we're going to make full use of the node controller mod and the intersection marking tool, but that's in the future, so let's forget about that for now. And we're going to finish off this episode by making a bit of a commercial and light industrial area that's next to the end of the frontage road here, where it connects up with the freeway. And this is just going to serve as a transition between the kind of normal zoning of the downtown, which is commercial, office, residential, with a little light industry mixed in. And we're going to use this kind of low-density transition area where there's light industry and commercial, maybe some offices, but no residential. And then what's at the bottom of screen now, and it's to the south of downtown, kind of in between the freeway and the bay, we're going to have a small industrial area. And then really south of that, where we're going to have a really big cargo port, because San Juan has one of the biggest, or busiest at least, cargo ports in North America, I think. So we're going to try to replicate that style of port with a lot of cargo and a lot of ships coming in and out. But that'll be later. So again, let's get back to what I'm actually doing here, which is this little corner, which kind of, I wanted the commercial buildings to be along this main avenue here, which runs from the downtown across the freeway and into the district that we're going to be making over the next few episodes, which is mostly residential. But anyway, I wanted to have those commercial buildings there along the avenue, and then the industrial buildings are kind of off the main road on the side roads. Okay, so now we're pretty much at the end of the episode, so I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode of Todos Santos, where, like I said, we're going to be doing something really interesting, a little different than usual, and I hope that you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Adios.